Hello everyone, this is Saurabh, and in this video we will learn how we can make use of an external database file, import it into our project, and how we can use the table adapter queries to manipulate the data in the tables of the database. So let's start by importing an external MDF file into our project. For that we'll have to create a project first. Let's name it an employee project. Now we'll have to go to the project to add new data source. With the database selected, we can do a next. Here we have to select the data set. Again, we'll do a next. So if you can see, there is no data connection right now. If an MDF file is present in your project, the connection is picked up from there, but since there is no data file which is present in your project right now, this would be blank, there would be no value. So what you'll have to do is click on the new connection. Over here you can see the data source is selected as Microsoft SQL Server database file. Since we are using an MS SQL database file, we'll leave it as it is. Over here we'll browse to the MDF file present in my desktop. Do open. Now click on test connection to check if everything is working fine. Since the test connection is successful, we can do an OK over here and do an OK in the add connection window. So a new connection database test.mdf comes up. You can do a next over here. This window would ask you if you want to add this MDF file project or not. So let's do a yes over here. You can save the connection with a particular name. I'll leave it as it is and do a next. Over here we can select the objects that we want to add to our data set. In our case we need just the tables. I'll select the tables and do a finish. So over here you can see we have added an external MDF file database test to our project, and we have also created a data set which is database test data set. Now we can add a control to our form. So we'll do data grid again. We'll just drag it to our form. We will resize it so that everything comes up in our form. Now we will see how we can make use of the table adapter queries, which can be used to manipulate the data which is inside the employee table. The data that is present in our table is having a salary column. So what we'll be doing is we'll be calculating a max salary and a min salary of all the records that are present in the employee table, and this would be done on the back of a button. So we'll be having a max button and a minimum button. On the click of those buttons, we will get the maximum salary of all the records and a minimum salary of all the records. So let's just put two buttons on our form one. You can do a control C, control V. Rename this to the max salary. And this one to the minimum salary. So what we'll do is when this button is clicked, we'll get the maximum of all the salaries, and when we click this button, the minimum salary button, we'll get the minimum salary of all the records that are present in the employee table. For this we will have to make use of the table adapter queries. So let's just go to our data set first. Over here you can see this employee table adapter is having one default method which is fill method, and this is used especially when the form 1 is loaded. For our purpose, we can create certain methods in this employee table adapter and use them in form1.cs. To create the methods in employee 1 adapter, we'll have to click on the employee table adapter, do an add query, use an SQL statement. We are not creating a new stored procedure or an existing stored procedure, so we'll select the SQL statement, do next. Now, since to calculate a maximum or minimum of the salaries, we will be making use of the aggregate functions. So we will select this option, select which returns a single value, do next. Over here we will have to change the SQL query. We'll have to create max of the salary, do a next. We'll change the name to max query, do a next, and do a finish. So a max query method has come up for this employee table adapter. Similarly, we'll create a method which will be called min query and which will calculate the minimum of the salaries. We'll do an add query again, use SQL statements, select which returns a single value and change it to minimum of salary. We'll do a next, change the name, do a next again, and we'll finish. So again, we'll see minimum query method has come up in the employee table adapter, and these method can be used in our form1.cs to calculate the maximum and minimum values of the salaries of all the records on the back of a button. So let's just go to our designer window. Over here we can click on the maximum salary and write a code to get the maximum of the salary. Now the salary is money, so let's just declare a decimal variable which we can name as maxsal, and this can be assigned to this dot employee table adapter dot the max method. You can make use of the max method over here. And you can see there's a red wiggly line over here, and if you see the error, it says that it cannot implicitly convert type decimal question mark to decimal. So we'll have to do the conversion explicitly. That means we have to put a decimal in front of this statement. So now the error has gone. We can use the message box.show and put the maximum salary is the maxsal dot, we have to convert it to a string, and since this is currency, we put a small c. Okay, and the same thing we will be doing for the minimum salary. If we click on the minimum salary button, we will take a decimal variable, min cell, assign it to the this dot employee table adapter dot minimum query, and change it to decimal again, and make use of the message box.show, print the minimum salary. Use the min cell variable dot to string and change it to the currency. Okay, so let's just start and see what we have done. So this is the form that comes up. It has all the data that was there in the employee table. So when we click on the max salary, it should give us the maximum salary, and when I click on the minimum salary, it should give the minimum salary of all the records that are present in employee table. So let's just click on the maximum salary button. So it gives the maximum salary is $80,000. Again, minimum salary, the minimum salary is $60,000. In this video, we saw how you can import an existing database file to your project, and how you can make use of the table adapter queries to manipulate the data that is present in the database.